My name is Lodi Aaron. Right now we're at the Homestead Museum in Cripple Creek, Colorado. Well, the homestead was built especially for the rich men. It was like $250 a night, which has the equivalency of $9,000 today. And the miners could not choose to be here because they only worked for $3 a day. They could not afford this house. There was 5 blocks of Myers Avenue, which was houses of prostitution. There was approximately 350 girls working off of this street, and they started up all the way from a dime up to $3. And this house, of course, was for the rich men, and it was $50 to $100 a trick. And we're trying to save this because it is part of the history. The ratio was about 9 men for every 1 woman. So there was a big need for these kind of ladies in the West. Well, after gaming came in, they raised the taxes so high that I was the owner and I sold it to the Jubilee. They sold it to the Wild Horse. And the Wild Horse could care less about keeping it as a museum. We've had trouble with them. But the Double Eagle has now bought it, and they are willing to work with us, and we are trying to buy the house. We have to raise $350,000 to purchase the house. Donations right now is our biggest goal. I really do think that we will save it. She was one of the most famous madams in the state of Colorado. How Pearl fell into this way of life, no one really seems to know. She come from a very prominent family from the East, was well educated and very talented. Well, she had this one man that called on her quite regular from Denver, and he was very wealthy. And they were having a big party here at the homestead, and he come to see Pearl and brought her an $800 Parisian gown. Well, they had a quarrel in the afternoon, and he got on the train and went back to Denver. She told the girls that she was going to come upstairs and lay down and rest. When she didn't come downstairs for the party later on in the night, they come up and checked on her, and they found her in a daze. She had taken an overdose of morphine. They called the doctor, but it was too late. They couldn't save her. So they notified her people. Her sister come to claim her body, thinking that she had been running a millinery shop in the West, making hats. Well, she had quite a shock when she went to the mortuary and saw she was listed as a prostitute. The sister said, "This is no sister of mine." And she got on the train and went back to Chicago. Wouldn't have a thing to do with her. Well, this really upset the girls off of the avenue. Some of the miners too, and they said, "That's all right, we'll take care of our own." So they set about to make all the arrangements. They had all the bands of the district, which were many at the time. They had wagons and surreys and a collection. And in the meantime, a letter had come through the mail. It said to bury her in this beautiful gown, and there was a check for $1,000. She had one of the most elaborate funerals ever had here in Cripple Creek. She's the only one of this type of a lady that is buried in the cemetery with a marker to her grave. Now, the bands were all real nice, and they played all the appropriate funeral marches going out. They even played Goodbye, Little Girl, Goodbye. But coming back in, their sorrow was kind of short-lived. They struck up very loudly, "There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight."